Welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, talking Oklahoma City Thunder basketball and the wider NBA.
Sam Presti said, lower the hatch, load up the cannon, and get the tank out rolling.
Catch new episodes after each Thunder game and every Sunday night.
This is a house of learning doctors.
Follow The Uncontested on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to catch new content as it drops.
I mean, a cat and a dog connected together?
This is Lou Dort. You're listening to The Uncontested.
What is up? Welcome to The Uncontested Podcast, a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. We're coming to you live from YouTube, Facebook, Twitter on Sunday, August 22nd, the dead time of the NBA. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. I've got Justin with me tonight.
Hello, everybody.
Taylor's in the building.
Speaking of dead time in the NBA, your boy's still going strong with his new football following. Just watched the Chelsea-Arsenal game this morning. Had a great time.
Very good. You said, speaking of dead time, I thought you were going to tell us about a dead person. And I was
speaking of dead time,
mildly concerned. We've also got Nick Crane.
Speaking of dead time, Taylor just tried calling out someone on Twitter and then realized that the list he was looking at was the wrong list.
Technically, it wasn't. They just the worst part about that is that they actually did something similar to what we did, and Shea's minutes were listed at small forward the majority of this season, but they put him at shooting guard. Okay, so technically they were still wrong.
I have no clue what's going on right now. So, well, gentlemen, it is the dead time of the NBA. There is literally nothing going on.
Why don't you hype up this pod some more?
Yeah, I know, right?
So who wants to talk about their feelings?
What? The Atlanta Hawks hired an assistant coach today.
We're going to spend
riveting.
We're going to spend 47 minutes breaking that down.
Patrick Beverley is on a tour of the NBA.
He is.
Indeed.
Good way
I
to put
wonder
that.
if he's shoved anyone else in the back at any of these recent stops.
Salty
Tends to
much?
happen in Timberwolves practices, apparently.
Yeah. Touche. We're not going to talk about all that because that stuff's not interesting. So in an effort to find something for us to chat about Thunder-related tonight, I figured, so it is my first week back at school. I have had children in the classroom for 2 days now, and those 2 days I came home and took a fat old nap, sat down on the couch and just blacked TF out for like 2 hours. Teaching in the middle of a pandemic it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So in honor of school being back in session, we're going to give out some homework today, boys.
Ooh.
I've always had the joy
Gross.
of being able to give out homework. That's actually a joke. I've never given out homework in my history as a teacher. But I'm going to extend you guys the offer to start giving out homework. But instead of giving them out to students, you're going to give out homework to Thunder players. Since the Thunder are bringing back or bringing in tons of young guys this season as we continue through the youth movement and the rebuild, those young guys need to develop over the summer. They need homework so they can refine their skills, become better, and then do great on the test, which are the games. So I'm going to give each of you a player, and then you're going to decide what their homework is for their basketball game for the rest of this offseason leading into the regular season. All right. And then after that, we will take some questions from the chat. We've got some around the association stuff as well. But you can't just say, like, I hate it when NBA players say, yeah, I just worked on my game this summer. Like, no shit, you worked on your game, my man. Tell us specifics, right? So you guys have to give us specifics on what they need to work on in this offseason to come back better. Nick, bless your soul, you're first up. Are you ready?
Ready.
Your student is Darius Baisley.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
What homework are you giving Darius Baisley? What specific things to focus on between now and October 20th, the first game of the season?
Nick, I don't know if you watched that video of highlights this morning from the open gym run of him, Ja Morant. We had who else? Ben Simmons. But I don't think he needs to work on anything. He's a superstar now.
I just finished a story on what Bays needs to improve on. So this
Oh.
is thanks for picking me, Jacob.
Alley,
I'm
you
just sitting
him
here.
This is go ahead and plug the story first.
It's just a prospect story. Just looking at Bays as a player, what he needs to improve on coming into year 3.
Which of your 10 media outlets is it posted on?
SI. It'll be out
SI.
7 in the morning. Two
SI
things.
stands for Sports Illustrated. Everyone.
Two things that he needs to work on.
All right.
One being just being better with the ball. Like he averaged more turnovers than assists last year. 2.2 turnovers, 1.8 assists. Just decision making. If he's going to be this point forward that the Thunder want to see in positionless style of play, just need to take better care of the ball. So that's one thing. 2 is going to be shooting efficiency. The man only averaged, I think, I can't remember now, 14 or so points on like 12 and a half shot attempts, which is obviously not good. He shot like 40% from the floor, 29% from deep. If you're going to get that many shots, you got to score more points. Jacob's always been big on that. That was his knock on Melo, is it takes him 18 shots to score 20 points. Bays isn't far off from that. So I think that's the second thing, is just doing more with the shot attempts you get.
I think that's fair. Any of you other guys have anything to add to that?
Time for the intern to act like a full-time employee. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, that was so dumb. I'm sorry.
Nick, I think that efficiency comes in so your homework is Baisley become more efficient scoring the ball. And I think the 3 places that he becomes more efficient at scoring the ball, higher percentage from 3. That one's just obviously like a given, right?
Yep, right.
Being able to finish at the rim better, which I think also includes being more aggressive when he is there. I feel like a lot of times he goes up soft and low rather than trying to like rip the rim off the backboard. And number 3, get to the free throw line, right? Yep. And that kind of ties into that attacking the basket more aggressively. I think if he gets 2 of those 3 things this season, you see a big jump in efficiency.
Well, if he just shot just a little bit better. I'm not saying Shea efficiency, just shot like not horrific splits. With the amount of shots he took last year, he could have the same exact role, shooting the exact same amount of shots, and he could average 18 or 19 points pretty easily.
Yeah. So to add some color to Nick's point, 39.6% from the field for Darius Baisley. 5.2 3-point attempts. He only shot 29% from 3, which is horrendous.
That's also
had
bad.
7.3 2-point attempts. 47% from the field. So that's kind of where I think Nick is getting at when he says just a little more efficient.
Yeah, right. What was his free throw percentage?
His free throw percentage was 70, which is not great either.
Got to get that up as well. Yeah.
His efficiency, his field goal efficiency rating, 45.6%.
Yeah.
I mean, get that up a couple percentages. And
Taylor, you mentioned that video from him at that pickup run, which the footwork on that move was nice. The ball handling was nice. The release still kind of low. You know, and I'm not out here to nitpick random pickup run, right?
Yep.
But and I don't expect him to get to the free throw line and be more efficient there, be more aggressive and finish better at the rim and shoot better from 3. Like, that's asking a lot. But if you can improve on 2 of those 3 things, I think you're headed in the right direction. It's a big year for him too. I mean, This is like, I don't know, if he doesn't do that homework, my man's getting kicked out of school.
I mean,
right.
Go back to public school,
that.
buddy.
Yeah, we talked about that. Or actually, Nick and I talked about that on Wednesday, right? Like, Presley's not one to let, at least restricted free agents that he's interested in long term. And I think they are interested in Baisley long term, assuming he's able to produce this season. He's not one to let those players reach that restricted free agency. And the players that we've seen recently, Hami, Svi, like both of them are no longer with the Thunder. So at that point, like you said, Jacob, he's either getting traded this season if they don't extend him, or they obviously aren't that concerned about keeping him long term. So this is a big season for him to prove some of the things that you guys just mentioned in order to keep him, for him to be able to even stay with the Thunder.
And all that to say, like, that gives him the opportunity to be maybe the biggest, like, take a jump kind of guy.
Yes,
because he's got nowhere to go but up, quite frankly.
Yeah. Nick and I talked about that Wednesday as well.
100%.
I'll save that, I think, for our preseason preview. But that's one of my probably one of my bet. I'll center one of my bets around that for you guys.
I like it. Justin, Mr. Peabody, as we should call you. Would you go by Mr. Peabody as a teacher?
Would I have a choice?
Yeah, you can have kids call you whatever you want.
Bow down to me, peasants.
Lord Peabody.
Nick, are you going to be Mr. Crane?
Yeah.
Are you just going just easy, Mr.
Well,
Crane?
you're Coach K. I'll go Coach C.
There you go.
Oh, there you go, Coach.
Most kids don't call me Coach K. I get Niffin or Niff. Most kids call me Niff. So
that's cool.
Niff.
I like that.
that's what I got.
I'm gonna start calling you Niff.
So Mr. Peabody, is that where we're going with? Mr. Peabody?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes.
P?
Call him P.
PB?
Master P.
Master.
This is
You
getting worse.
got to get your graduate's degree to be able to be called Master P.
Mr. Peabody, like the cartoon dog. Let's
There you
go.
go.
With that.
I love it. Also, I just want it to be out there in the ether right now. Even when Kamiar gets his PhD, I'm not calling him Dr. Marabian. Not happening.
Dr. K.
Not happening. All right, Mr. Peabody,
Yes. What are we doing?
your student
Mm.
is a foreign exchange student,
Oui.
Mr. Lugens Dort.
Different foreign exchange student.
Yes. Most fair warning. Apparently, we are running the international school out of
that's
Oklahoma
right.
City.
That's right.
All the
Yes.
foreign
International
students.
boarding school.
Yes, all the foreign students are coming to our school. So, Mr. Peabody, your pupil is Lugens Dort. What homework you giving him?
I think he's really got to improve, first of all, with his on-ball defense. It's just abysmal. Honestly, it's on the offensive end, right? It's got to be on the offensive end. His defense, everybody knows what his defense is. Offensively, he's great at driving the rim. He was even, solid behind the arc. I think there's definitely, room for improvement behind the arc to become like a true 3-and-D type player. But what I would like to see him come in this year is a little bit more like of the in between, whether that's some mid-range shots where it makes sense, like using that shot selection. Does it have to be a 3-pointer off the catch or a drive? Or is there something else he can work in? But more so, I think passing, getting Lou Dort to act a little bit as like a playmaker. I think looking at how this Thunder roster is constructed, looking at all these guys that they're bringing in with high basketball IQ, I feel like where the team is trying to head is where like everybody can make a smart passing play. And I feel like that's probably one of Lou Dort's maybe weak spots right now. So seeing him improve on court vision and making plays for others, not just, slashing or catching and shooting behind the arc, I think would make him like really formidable on the offensive end to pair with obviously what we know about him on the defensive end.
I think that's fair. I like that. Let's say he does that homework and he progresses as far as a ball mover and a decision maker. What kind of contract do you think he gets?
Ooh,
Well-
so this is the fun question. Like
I know
Nick and I have been talking a lot about
that's
that.
a big question, and a lot of people have pointed to Marcus Smart's.
That's what I was just going to say. We just saw
least
Marcus
extension.
Smart get a big extension. I think you could make the argument that, that's within range. Especially given that Dort is younger. Marcus Smart is probably heading one direction and Lou Dort is heading the other at their current points in their careers. And if you can lock up Lou Dort and he can be a Marcus Smart for your team, maybe a Marcus Smart plus, knock on wood, I think that I think he's worth that.
Yeah.
Do you know how old Marcus Smart is?
He's
No,
like
don't
probably
tell me.
27, right?
Like sneaky young, isn't he?
27.
Yeah. Oh, there it
He's
is.
so freaking
The
old.
OSU alum knows. No,
Won't be 28 till the end of this next season.
Okay. Well, that's
He's-
younger than I thought in my
Yeah,
head.
it feels like he got drafted
Yeah.
so long
Yes,
ago.
it
I
does.
still remember watching him at OSU though, and like watch.
Yeah,
I still
I remember watching
him.
him almost fist fight that guy.
Yes,
at
the Texas
A&M.
Tech.
Oh, yeah, Texas Tech, not A&M.
Yeah, I was going to say that
Malice
was
at the
exactly what I was
Palace,
about to
baby.
say. I
Speaking
think
of
that's
completely
spot on.
irrelevant, but if you guys have not yet watched the Netflix doc,
It
Yes.
was
Malice at the Palace.
fantastic.
Good
My
stuff.
only complaint is it wasn't long enough. I'm just gonna just
Uh-huh.
let it be there.
You get that complaint a lot, Taylor.
Yeah, it happens.
Hey, Hey,
Happens.
easy.
All right, Nick. Well, we've got Lou Dort, or not Nick. I'm sorry, Justin, Mr. Peabody. We've got Lou
Please call me
Dort's.
Mr. Peabody. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Peabody. We've got
Mr.
Dort's
Peabody,
homework.
sir.
Hopefully, he will show up to the pre-test, aka the preseason, ready to go, and has worked on that homework. Mr. Peterson.
Oh, that sigh at the beginning. Is that because it's me, or is it because of the player you're giving me?
Taylor, you know, Taylor's got the longest test of anybody.
Yeah, look.
Oh yeah,
Comprehensive.
Taylor.
Let's not talk about the season. Let's talk about your career.
Taylor's test. Hey,
I'm a
Nick,
school
I'm going to give
counselor,
you some
not a
multiple
teacher.
choice.
Yeah,
And then every
never
question
mind.
is an open-ended short answer question. Taylor would get beat up in a high school as a teacher. I'm just letting you know, those kids would want to fist fight you. Mr. Peterson, you get another foreign exchange student. Teo Maladone is your
Dang
pupil.
it. I was hoping you were going to give me give me Poku, but I figured you would give me Teo. That's okay.
You get Teo, who just attended summer school. He did pretty well at summer school. A little bit
That's
of up
good.
and down. Some of his classmates weren't that great, and so he has now left summer school. He's doing homework before the regular school year starts. What homework you giving Teo Maladone?
Well, like you said, in summer school, he got bigger and stronger, right? That was the first thing that we noticed.
He wasn't getting beat up in summer school. He showed up yoked.
That's right. He showed up yoked. He during the off season, aka summer break, he was putting the work in apparently 2 times a day in the gym, and it definitely showed on the court during summer league. We saw him be a little more aggressive, especially in that first game. After that, you can't really take a ton from the rest of those games based off of A, who he was playing with, B, trying to keep him healthy, C, all of his close friends who were close in his age that he played with last season were all in Vegas with him. There's a good chance that, as I think Sam Vecini said in one of his recent podcasts, there's a lot of players, especially those that have their future secure long-term, who show up some of those games hungover. I'm not saying that was Teo necessarily. I'm just saying something else to take into consideration. It is summer. So all that being said, I think when I look back on Teo's last season, the most easy thing to say is that he just needs to become a more efficient player on both ends of the floor. But that's, again, kind of a softball because Teo played the most minutes of any Thunder player last season based off those injuries. And let's be completely honest, the tanking job that we saw that last half of the season. But I think what that did, and we've talked a lot about this, but that gave a lot of development time early on for Teo that he wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And because of that, I play, especially what we saw in Summer League, and the size that he's put on, I expect him to be more efficient. But just to that point really quick, only shot 36.8% from the floor on 9.4 attempts, which is honestly quite a bit for the position that he was playing. 33.5% from 3 on 4.8 attempts, and had a field goal efficiency of 45.4. Again, not a great super efficient scorer, but a lot of that can be chalked up to the majority of his minutes came in that latter half of the season. So I'm not necessarily concerned about that, but that is something he's going to have to focus on, is being more efficient around the rim, drawing contact, getting to the free throw line, like we talked about with Shea about this time last year, being a little more efficient from the 3-point line and creating for his teammates. And I also just hope, just kind of a side note, that his new strength and size translates on the defensive end as well.
You guys have anything to add to the homework list?
How could we? No, I'm kidding. No, I think he's spot on. Like, Teo's a guy that, like, his career is likely going to be as a 6th man. There's lots of
or
things
like a Rubio starter. That's kind of what I keep thinking.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of things that he could get a lot better at. But at the end of the day, if he just gradually gets better from where he was last year as a 18, 19-year-old, I think you're good with the 34th pick having Teo there. Like,
Yep.
Teo doesn't have to become a superstar for me to be happy with him. Like the expectations are a little bit lower than some of these other guys.
Don't bring that energy into a school building. Just saying. I think for me, I would also add for Teo, I want part of his homework would just be more aggressive. Like, I feel like Teo.
That's a lot of guys, though.
Yeah, I feel like Teo's nature is just
guys.
to be very conservative, not take risks.
Yep.
Like
Game manager.
yeah, like could there be two more polar opposite players than Teo Maladone and like LaMelo Ball?
Yep.
They're
Good
just
point.
so fundamentally different
Yeah.
in the way they approach the basketball game.
Yep.
And I think it raises Teo's floor, but it severely limits his ceiling. And maybe that's just
Totally.
the kind of guy he is, but I would try to make him push that envelope a little bit.
Well, think
It's
about
interesting.
most superstars have that like swagger or like the way they carry themselves, and it's like that LaMelo Ball type, and that just you kind of have to have that personality to be a star, quite frankly.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
I think of
interesting to me because he's much more of like a traditional point guard. Like 20 years
Yes.
ago, Teo Maladon is exactly what you wanted running the point. The game
It's almost like he
manager,
learned from Tony
even
Parker.
keeled. Yeah, like yeah, okay. But like the even keeled, like those weren't necessarily always your flashy stars. I think that's changed quite a bit over the last couple decades in the NBA, but I think he absolutely will continue to have an important role on any team, whether that's the Thunder or otherwise, because people always want that kind of steadying force. Like think about if the Thunder are, they had a lead, it evaporates, and Teo can like kind of set everybody straight. He can come in, like run the offense, get everybody back in a groove, kind of stop the bleeding a little bit. Like you need somebody like that on the team who can kind of like reset everybody. And I think he can do that pretty well.
That's fair. Very fair. All right, Mr. Crane, your next student is in the building. We don't know how much your next student has been focusing on his schoolwork because he's been too busy working on his SoundCloud career.
Yes.
Trey 1K. Is it Trey 1K or Trey 2K?
1K.
Trey 1K. Trey Man, new student to the school. He needs a little bit of guidance. You kind of know what he's good at, what he's not good at, but you have some homework for him before he officially shows up at your school. What are you giving your SoundCloud rapper?
I'm gonna go a different direction with Trey Man, and it's nothing to do with on the court. I think whatever he needs to do off the court to stay confident, that's what he needs to do for his homework assignment. If that's SoundCloud rapping, so be it. But I think he has the potential to be really, really good, like better than where he was drafted at. But he also has T-Ferg potential, where if he's not confident, like his play style, it just requires it. He's not a T-Ferg player. He is a much better shot creator. He's much more flashy. I think that if he's a confident player, he's going to be really, really good. If he's not, I mean, the way he plays, you can't play that way if you're not shooting well, if you're not confident. So all that to say, I don't think there's much needs to work on. Like in Summer League, he shot horrific, but it was like he was creating good shots. He was rimming out in a lot of things that should have gone in. He could have very easily been first team all Summer League before he left for personal reasons if his shots were falling. Like he was generating good shots. Just comes down to confidence, keeping his head on straight, staying mentally focused, and however he needs to do that, that's his homework assignment.
I like that.
I think the biggest test for that with him will be deep into the season when the Thunder's record is not great and they haven't won a lot of games, and maybe his role isn't what he's used to. And I think the kind of dog days of the NBA season is really where that's going to be tested a little bit.
Yep, I agree.
His last game of Summer League before he left for personal reasons, watching that game on television, and Nick, I believe you were at that game. Justin was already on a plane ride home. But watching that game on television, there was a lot of plays where Trey caught the ball at the perimeter, had a three, hesitated, didn't shoot it, and tried to put the ball on the floor instead, and looked like he lacked some of that confidence.
Yep.
And yeah, he's the kind of guy he is, just by hearing the few interviews I've seen him do. He's the kind of guy that I think is that confidence type of guy like you're talking about, Nick. You know, to be a SoundCloud rapper, you have to have some swag, right? Like you gotta have it. You gotta have it going.
Some of those moves we saw in the first game, you've been saying this, Jacob, ever since he was drafted, right? It's like he's got the sauce.
Yeah, too much
and
sauce.
That's confidence.
Well,
Yeah.
the quote he had after the second game, this is his last game in summer league. I think you're right, Jacob. He said, "I've been in something along the lines of I've been in shooting slumps before, and the way I got out of them was by keeping on shooting."
Mhm.
Shooters keep shooting.
And I think that's his
love
thing.
that.
If he's going to be a 10 shot a game kind of guy this year, he's got to go out there and fire up 10 shots. He can't be
Yep.
Yeah, you can't
have no
hesitate.
confidence. Yeah, he's
Can't
got to
hesitate.
fire him
He
up.
needs that. He needs that Dion Waiters mindset.
That's right.
Exactly.
Maybe
I
we
was
need
gonna-
to get him some tutoring.
Hey,
Get Dion Waiters to tutor him.
There we go. I like
Yeah.
it. Bring him in. I've been saying that ever since we drafted him, especially in summer league. Like he's
What,
one of
that
those
we need to
players.
pair him with Dion Waiters?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
They've already brought Anthony Morrow back into the fold.
And that's true.
I don't know
For
what
him.
job the front office
like it.
can
I
legally
like it
give
a lot.
Dion, but
That's
give
gonna
him
be fun,
whatever.
too.
I don't care. Assistant GM, I don't care.
I just think Trey's going to be one of those guys that's either like there's going to be Thunder fans who are like just infuriated by him or with him or are going to be super stoked about him. Sometimes both, as we've seen with Thunder fans sometimes, depending on the game. There's going to be games where he goes for like 20 plus off the bench, like Nick was saying, where he's scoring 10 plus, or sorry, is shooting 10 times and super efficient off of that. And he's on fire. There's going to be other games where he's 0 of 10 and Thunder fans hate it because why is he not passing back to Josh Giddey? You know,
Yeah.
and
No, I want to see this dude just
exactly.
fire like it's a bottomless
Exactly.
cup, man.
That's what he has to keep doing. I'm with you guys.
Like-
and then the defensive end is something else to keep in mind, but that can come later on.
Yeah. To me, it is a very good sign if we get into preseason and early in the regular season and we can visibly see Trey Mann talking shit on the court.
Yeah.
That's a great sign.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a great sign because I do worry that he's going to be like Jeremy Lamb-esque.
If we don't see him like hit 3-pointers and just immediately
Triggered.
pull his jersey over, start pointing to that 100 emoji tattoo on his
He
shoulder.
needs to do like
Just-
the inject it in my
Yeah.
veins.
Yes.
God, I would lose my mind. All right, Mr. Peabody, your next student, another foreign exchange student, new to your school. He just arrived. Something going on with his shoulder. You don't know, but it's not COVID, so you're all right.
As far as we know.
Mr. Josh Giddey. He has two parents who were very
good.
gifted.
It's a good start.
Right. He's already been in like advanced level courses overseas.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's coming to see how good he can be in America. What homework are you giving? He did come to summer school. Got sick day one, never came back. Actually got sick first period of summer school.
That wasn't the. I was going to say he got locked out of his locker or something.
Oh, yeah, that works too. That works too. What happened was he showed up and he bullied the star pupil, threw down a dunk on him,
Oh, I like it.
and
And
then
then
they got expelled. So what's your
My
homework?
kind of guy.
What's your homework for your new student, Josh Giddey?
Well, the first thing Josh Giddey needs to do is invest in a nice, fine pair of ankle weights. Just lay down in front of the TV, put some jazzercise on, and start getting those things strong, baby. Because we can't be tripping over our own feet in the NBA. We can't be twisting our ankle.
Or maybe don't wear low top Kobe's. But
Hey, that ship has sailed. I used to be firmly on the no low top basketball shoes, but that ship has sailed. So aside from putting him in like the crazy KD shoes that went up his calf, I think that
God, those shoes were horrible. I'm sorry. I
The
just
chicken
remember what
feet?
those looked like. Those were horrible.
Giddey needs to work on his shot. We know Giddey is an incredible passer. We know that Giddey can drop some dimes. We know that he can move the ball. We know he's a playmaker. He needs to work on his shot. His shot form is rough and the results are inconsistent. And those two things probably go hand in hand. I think the Thunder development staff is probably going to be focusing on that, if I had to guess. I think that it's probably also not going to make a ton of progress like during the season. I feel like that's usually like an off-season thing that you see guys make big progress on. And so it'll be up and down. It'll be hit and miss. Maybe he tries some new things. Maybe he's experimenting throughout the season. But what I think Thunder fans are going to have to be ready for is like the ups and downs that are going to come with Josh Giddey's shot through this season. It's going to take a while to get that sorted out But if he can find that consistency to go with his playmaking, he'll be a very, very strong NBA player on the offensive end, which brings me to his other homework, which is I don't 100% know what he's going to look like on defense against NBA competition. I'm curious to see what he can do. Obviously, he's got a long frame, 6'8", guarding guards is intriguing. Can he use that size to his advantage, or does it become a hindrance guarding smaller guys that, you know, he can't keep up with them? I think that'll be one of the biggest things we'll have to watch for him this year.
Maybe delete social media.
Oh
No,
my
that
gosh,
TikTok
some
is
of those
gold.
some of those TikToks, yeah, it makes you realize. I think the guys are down to dunk. We're talking about this, but just like makes you think that he's absolutely an 18-year-old.
He's a child.
Making
I love
like
it.
banana jokes and
Makes me feel very old.
cream jokes, sour cream. It just, yeah.
No, I think the jump shot one is good. I think part of not only improving the form and the consistency of that jump shot, but taking it more often as well.
It's the way he lands. I'm surprised they haven't already tried changing that. Like you're
Kicking
supposed,
that foot out drives
you're
me
supposed to
nuts.
land with 2 feet. First of all, he's going to roll his ankle landing on someone's foot because
Exactly.
he puts his foot out. And the NBA is not going to say that's a defensive foul because he's going to be the one initiating the contact. It's just all sorts of bad. Like it's not how you want to see a 3-point shot.
I agree with that.
I do like his finishing at the rim.
Yep.
I think as soon as the game starts to slow a little bit for him, I think all the playmaking translates. Like I really do.
100%.
But for him to be like an integral piece to a deep Thunder playoff team, like he has to be able to like shoot that three every time somebody goes under the screen. He's got to be able to still be efficient at the rim like he was in Australia. So I think that's good. As far as defense, like we'll see. I think he's going to be good in help defense. I think he's smart, high
He has a
IQ,
defensive
cerebral.
IQ. Agreed.
My worry is that the foot speed isn't good to keep up with really fast guys.
Exactly.
Especially if he's playing wing or, playing on the wing like we expect him to play.
I think it's actually better if he plays on the wing versus if you want him. I don't think he'll play the guard position. Like I think he will
Defending smaller
defend
guards.
and play like 3-4.
That's
I mean,
fair.
I don't think it's impossible that this kid ends up being 6'11" by the time it's all said.
No,
and done.
he's almost there.
So
2 more inches, like that's not not out of the question at all. I'm with you.
definitely. All right, Mr. Peterson, you get the star pupil.
Now we're talking.
He transferred into your class. Everybody loves him. He's a bit of a weirdo. Another foreign exchange student.
That was mean.
But
I love
everybody
Poku. He's
loves him.
teacher's pet.
He is got so much potential. The whole school is just, the principal is waiting for you to mold this kid into something special. Your pupil is Alexei Pokashevsky.
All
What's
right,
his
so now the
homework?
podcast really starts.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Uncontested, the official podcast of Alexei Pokashevsky. I think from Poku, probably the biggest thing I want to see is just, you guys mentioned the confidence. We saw a lot of it this past season, but there is a real world. I'm not entirely sure if it will happen. I think to start the season where he's starting as a starter, but I would be shocked if it does not happen at least after like the midway point. And when he's playing with those starters, when he's playing alongside Shea and Giddey and Dort, right? I'm really curious to see kind of how he fits. So I think what I would like to see from him in that situation is like, yes, he needs to tone it down some. We don't need like behind the back full court passes to like Josh Giddey or whatever. But at the same time,
Take it back.
I mean, I want to see some of it. But at the same time, I still want to see him be aggressive. I want to see him continue to pull, not be timid and kind of shy away from the moment when he's playing alongside some of those players. That's kind of just the first thing I think that comes to mind, because I think he's going to have a bigger role with this team. But obviously, the kind of getting more down to the weeds, I think strength is obviously the biggest thing. We know he has a pretty solid base. He has those we call it the tree trunk limbs. He's going to have to get stronger from an upper body standpoint as well. His shooting, he has a good shot and good form that works for him, but it still needs refinement. And kind of to what you guys were talking about with Giddey, like the OKC Thunder staff coming in and refining that specific to Poku. I want to see a higher release. I think that's really important, using his size and length to his advantage. We saw that with KD. That's what makes him one of the most versatile scorers to ever play the game. Poku needs to get that release a little higher. And speaking of his legs, use a little more hip. I'm gonna be one of those smart NBA guys, but use a little more hip flexibility and get his legs into his shot a little more and keep that release high. I think that's going to help him a lot. And there's not very many players in the entire NBA that will be able to stop that. And then with that strength, he's going to be able to drive to the rim more. As we've seen, he's very crafty around the rim. I'm not concerned about his playmaking. That's always going to translate and be there. He just has to, like you mentioned, Jacob, with Giddey, just let the game kind of slow down a little bit for him, especially back to my original point when he's playing with some of these starters like Shea, Giddey, Dort, like some of these guys that we're going to see Poku have a bigger role in this team. And I just am curious how his game translates, how he's able to mature as the season goes along.
Maybe a hot take. I don't know. I don't think we've talked about this. I think he starts day one. Nick, you disagree?
I kind of disagree also, but I want it to happen.
My question, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, but over who?
Well, who's going to play the three right now?
I think you play Giddey, Dort, Shea.
That's what I say as well. And I think they're going to give the nod to
I'm kind
Bazley
of into the starting lineup being Shea, Dort, Giddey, Poku.
Right.
Favors.
And Favors, exactly.
So you're saying Bazley's not starting?
Yeah.
I think Baze starts over Poku day one.
I do too.
All Thunder fans want Poku to start over Bazley. I am in full agreement. I think Thunder is going to just
I think Poku has the way higher ceiling, and you're not going to win much this season anyway, so F it. Why not do it?
I think day one, you're giving Bazley. I mean, we said it earlier. This is Bazley's year to prove it. I think that's how he gets his shot.
Prove it or lose it. Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
If it
I got Poku. I got Poku. We'll come up with a bet later on. I got Poku starting day one.
Don't watch Basil get like food poisoning the night before the season opener, and Jacob will win.
And then he'll start from game 2 on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's good. My one thing that I would add, Taylor, is I was watching a whole lot of Poku highlights the other day, and it just makes me irrationally happy.
Alone in a room in the dark.
Yes, leave me alone. The one thing I think he needs to continue to work on is finishing with his left hand. That's
really good.
He finishes with the right hand even when he's on the left side of the basket. With that length, if he can get the dexterity into his left hand, be able to finish extending with either hand, like it's over. Like there's no stopping him when he gets downhill, gets to the basket. Just insane. I think he starts. I think if anyone can make a massive leap this season, I think it's Poku. Maybe it's wishful thinking. Maybe I'm a homer. I see so much room for growth there and an incredibly high ceiling. The percentage chance of him reaching that ceiling is slim.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you take those swings. And if he can get there, I sent you guys a video, a Poku highlight video last night, but I was watching it, and I think it was against Toronto, just this pass made where he drove in, looked off one way, and threw like a 30-foot bullet pass with the left hand to the opposite corner. Like, just his ability to read the floor is insane. Poku and Giddey, their ability to set guys up is just going to be
so much fun watching them together.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Can't
wait.
All right,
we have 2 more students left. So, Mr. Crane, you're next. Your new student, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. He came in for a lot of work in the summer. You got to see kind of what he's good at. Now, what are you sending him home to work on between now and the time the school year starts?
He's a pretty simple player in terms of what he needs to do better. Like, I think he's pretty NBA ready for a rookie. Can play a lot of positions, can rebound, is a solid passer. Just a good all-around guy. Like, I really, truly think his ceiling as an NBA player is not high, but if he's going to reach his full ceiling, it all hinges on the 3-point shot. 3-point shot was not good in college. 3-point shot was pretty shaky in summer league. I'm having him go to the gym every day, and he's not stepping inside that 3-point line. He's shooting threes all day long. And if he gets that down, I think he hits his ceiling fairly early in his NBA career, but he could be a guy.
I think that's fair.
I mean,
Justin, would you add anything there?
He seems like the most simple guy to evaluate here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin, would you add anything?
He's an interesting one that nothing really stands out as like he needs to work on X right now. I think getting to see more NBA minutes, getting that experience, like he's the kid, to use more school analogy, like he just needs to get in class, and I think we'll be able to see him grow. And so I don't think there's anything he needs to do between now and the beginning of the season. I think it's, keep doing the work, get ready to adjust to NBA life, and let's see what he does with the opportunities that he'll get this year.
Yeah. And Nick, I think you're spot on. I think he is, continuing with our school analogy, he's the kid that shows up every day to class. He's quiet. He's nice. He does his homework. He turns in his schoolwork. He gets B's on everything. He's not going to be valedictorian. He's not going to be, taking every AP class, but he shows up. He gets the job done every day.
Yep.
Nice person. He's got a lot of friends. Everybody likes him.
Yep.
Not the most popular kid in school. He's just kind of there,
Yeah.
I love this analogy.
He went to prep school, right? They got him ready for the college level.
He's just
which in this case the NBA level.
Yeah, he's not going to be the superstar of the school. He's not going to be the straight A student. He's not going to be, winning all the scholarships. He's just he's to me, he is the ultimate role player. That's who they drafted. He reminds me so much of like Nick Collison and Kenny Hustle. It's not funny.
Yep.
And apparently the Thunder have a very strong liking to those types of players. So, and hey, those guys help you win, right? They raise your team's floor for sure. All right, Mr. Peabody.
Last one.
Mr. Crane got just the average old student. You get the star pupil, the king on campus. Everybody knows who he is. He walks through those front doors of the school just dripping.
Kyle Singler.
100%. He just moved into a big old new house. He's rolling up in his Lamborghini, parking in the student parking lot.
As he should with his new contract.
Does whatever he wants. People used to not think very highly of him, but he proved everybody wrong.
He parks in Russ's spot now.
Your student is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Nothing. No homework for you.
An A+ is an A+.
Took the summer off. You earned it.
Enjoy. See you later.
You get to skip a grade.
We're just going to give you A's no matter what you do.
Go get yourself a Frosty, young fella. You earned it. No, really, like what would I don't have anything for him to work on. I think come back again and do some more, please. What we saw from Shai last year, let's see more of it. Let's see it for a full season, maybe. Let's see it with a younger group of players where, Shai's the unquestioned leader of this group probably for the first time. So I think getting to see that in action, I don't think it's something he needs to work on, but I think it'll be more asked of him more so than ever before. But yeah, I think come back and do it again. See if he takes another leap. He's taken a leap every year. Does he have another one in him? If so, look out. Is that put him in an all-star level situation this season? I don't know. I think once again, OKC's record probably dampens that all-star resume. But overall, thanks for coming to my class.
I think I said this maybe on the show with Taylor earlier this week, but I want to get the whole group's opinion here. If SGA didn't get any better, he just stayed the exact same average, 24, 6, and 6 on 50, 40, 90, 50, 40, 80, whatever it was last year. I think he's still worth a next contract.
Yeah.
If he were to get 0% better and just stay flat.
And you just have a better.
So do you mean
surrounding team around him.
0% better, or his stats just same static?
His stats stay static.
He has the same kind of production.
I think he could get a lot better,
Thunder
but those
build
stats stay
around
the
him.
same.
Right. Okay, so my point is his stats stay the same the rest of his career. Just stay static. He's worth a max contract. Like he was a max contract player last year.
If he can shoot 42% from three
Right.
on 5 to 6 attempts a game, score 24 points,
with better players around him,
be an insane finisher at the rim. Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Exactly.
I think, and a lot of people in the chat are saying this, and I totally agree. I think the one place I would like to see Shea take a jump is defensively, and I think he has the physical tools to do so. I think he's got a quick step. He's got incredibly long arms. He's putting in a lot of strength training this offseason. We've seen like all the Instagram videos and whatnot, strengthening up his core.
Muscle watch.
I would like to see him be able to be more engaged defensively. I don't think it's a lack of ability for him defensively. I think it's a little bit of lack of engagement. I mean, you look back to that rookie year in LA, he was a really good defender, right? If he could get back to that level of defense, like he doesn't need to be all defensive player, but if he can be firmly like above average and keep the stats static, I mean, he is, I think at that point, once they start winning, he's like all NBA caliber. Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other thing I would mention as well, the defense was one I was going to mention. You guys, I think Jacob nailed that. Everybody in the chat's been talking about that as well. On ball defense for sure. And like Jacob said, just kind of locking on the defensive end. But can you imagine Shea? I mean, it's tough for a player like him because it's so hard to stop him when he's driving to the rim that he doesn't necessarily, quote unquote, need this in his bag, for lack of a better term. But if you can imagine Shea getting a more efficient, a more regular pull up or just a jump shot in general in the mid range, I think that, again, you don't want him taking much of mid range shots, but when he's driving to the rim, he has defenders collapsing on him, especially this season, next season, maybe even the season after that, where he has 2 or 3 defenders coming at him. They think he's going to drive to the rim and trying to do something crafty to finish around the rim. Having him just being able to have a nice little floater or a soft pull up, the cotton shot that what Rush used to call it, right? If he has something like that, I mean, you're talking about a player who's just about impossible to guard in the offensive end. So
he's already approaching that. Like I've said it a lot of times.
Exactly.
His game is like offensive game is very similar to James Harden's.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to watch games where Shea breaks down his defender at the top of the key, drives into the paint, collapses the defense, and kicks out to either Josh Giddey or Alexei Pokashevsky, who then like attack a closeout and just throw some absurd pass for like a dunk or a wide open 3. Like I think the chemistry is definitely going to be there because I think that they have a lot of guys on this team that with Shea as the orchestrator, once he makes a move, once he does something, and then the pass or whatever, I think everything else really kind of starts to fall in place behind it. And I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Here's one for you. Like to see Shea flirt with double-digit assists. He's got maybe better guys around him this year if everyone actually plays and is healthy. He was 14th in potential assists per game last year. Like he could do it.
Yeah. Well, Nick, let me play devil's advocate there for a second. With the type of players that they're bringing in, will the system allow for him to do that? Like, do you think he's going to get enough opportunities to get double-digit assists? And maybe this year is the year he could, but with guys like Josh and with Poku and with Ty Jerome and all these other guys, I feel like there's so many good passers on this team that Shea's role is going to really fluctuate game to game. On this game, I'm letting everyone eat. This game, I'm strictly like the play finisher. I think that's going to be interesting.
I still think, I don't care how many passers you have. I don't care how many point guards you have. The ball is going to be in the best player's hands the highest percentage of the time. Right. And that's going to be
that's Shea. Exactly. Yeah, like he was listed as small forward. The majority of his minutes on B-Ball Reference, but obviously he was the lead playmaker for the Thunder, which means, again, not to go off a tangent here, but I think, ball handler or guards, forwards, bigs are probably the positions we should use moving forward. But kind of Jacob's point, just really quick on Shea. I know we want to spend the most on him because he's the most important player moving forward. At least for next season, we'll see. Poku could potentially get to that point, but he shot he averaged 16.1 field goal attempts per game last season. 4.9 of those attempts were from 3, and then 11.3 of those attempts were from 2. I just want to see him continue to be aggressive, even as he's playing alongside some of these other players you guys have mentioned. I hope he continues to be aggressive, even as he's getting more and more defensive attention. Like, I think he needs to maintain that for the Thunder to continue to be, or for him to reach that next level, and for the Thunder to reach that next level as well.
I love it. All right, guys. Good homework assignments. You all passed my test of being high quality basketball teachers. So good job.
Thanks, Coach K.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I don't think we're going to have time for around the association, but we definitely want to hit the questions from the chat. So Taylor, take us through the comments. What do we got?
Let's do it. Let's see. Trying to find the first of the questions and go through the comments. Here's Nate Sanders. He asked, who will be the next player that posts off-season clips and we all overreact? We talked about Baisley, his clips that were posted this morning.
League-wide or Thunder specific?
Let's do Thunder specific.
Yeah, we'll do Thunder. Yeah.
It's got to be Josh Giddey.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a good Josh.
That's a good one.
He's going to play in some like YMCA league against old men and have some cool highlights. People are going to freak out like, oh, should have got number 1.
Once he's done buying shoes, he's got to put them into action, get them on the court, and people are gonna
break him in, baby.
Because I mean, it just hasn't happened. Like, because he only played 5 minutes in summer league. That first extended action, whether it's from a practice or whether it's from a workout, whatever it is, it's going to be exciting.
Oh yeah, you can only watch those Australian League highlights so many times.
Right.
Trust me, I've tested the limit.
And the thing with Giddey's the only top 10 or maybe probably even lottery player that is still kind of like unknown. Like you don't even have the summer league stuff to overreact to. Like he's the only like unknown guy.
Yep.
100%. Also, he's kind of taking the role, I think maybe not fully yet, but give it to like Christmas time. He is going to take the Steven Adams role of the tall guy from Oceania with the long hair who all the women swoon over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's already starting to happen. Speaking of his TikTok, go to his TikTok page, and it's just
thirst traps.
Oh, and he loves it. He's all about it.
Get a like Oceania scrimmage going with him. Get Steven Adams there, Patty Mills, like.
Oh boy, Ricky Rubio.
I'd overanalyze. Ricky Rubio's not from Oceania.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were just talking about foreign players with long, luscious hair.
I thought you were talking about
blue eyes and.
But yeah, sign me up for that. I would overanalyze that all day long.
I like that answer. That's a good one. So Silver asks us, who besides Shea on the Thunder do we want to get the most minutes? The ones that Silver gives is Giddey, Poku, Dort, or is there somebody else outside that you guys would like to see get the most minutes outside of Shea?
I'm going Poku.
I was going to say, Giddey. Are we all saying Poku here? Oh, Giddey. Okay.
I was going to say Giddey or Poku, so I'll split the difference.
House divided. I'm going Poku 100%. I love Giddey. Super excited about Giddey. Would want him probably to see the third most minutes on this team, maybe like tie with Dort. But Poku would be the second player I think I want to have the most. Now, Sean asked a pretty interesting question here. We kind of talked about this leading into the season with one of these players that we were kind of interested in, just kind of as a group, as a podcast. But why have the Thunder still not made a move to try to get a Cam Reddish or a Bagley to put into this core? I think a lot of that obviously has to do with the cost to get those players and Presti weighing, is it worth it or not? But I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts.
It's all about the money. Those guys got paydays coming up.
Yeah, how do we know Presti hasn't tried?
Yeah.
Right. How do we know Presti likes those guys? You know?
It's interesting. I thought something would have come out of both of those guys by now. Not necessarily to the Thunder, but just anyone
in general.
Yep.
Yeah. And the same thing with like Thunder fans' favorite guy over the summer, Lauri Markkanen. Like he's just still just out there in the ether, just hanging out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's interesting.
I agree. Jackson McElwee asks, if Baisley and Dort are both amazing next year, who would you keep?
Ooh, so if Baisley and Dort kind of have the same level of a good season, which one would you rather keep long term?
Bays.
I think I love Lou Dort to death, but you got to keep this 6'9" wing who can pass, dribble, shoot.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. Is that the if in this question is a very large if, but if Bays performs at the same level as Dort, I think
there's
that's fair.
Already question of will Lou Dort be a starting 2 guard 2 years from now with all the draft pick and talent that they're going to have come through. If they just draft one top 5 guard next year or the year after, Lou Dort probably is not a starter.
Yeah.
Look, to use a nerdy analogy here, I am Jon Snow in Battle of the Bastards, the infamous gif of him pulling out his sword and the mobs coming at him. I am standing on Lou Dort Island with my sword. There is no way I would rather have Lou Dort, the shooting guard position. I'm going to stick to my guns here and say Lou Dort.
I love it.
So here's another fun one here from Sean. What kind of defender is Trey Mann? He's not entirely sure. He wants your guys' opinion.
Not a good one.
Yeah, join the club, buddy. I don't really know either.
You know who we haven't talked about? Can I throw a question up here?
Yeah.
What's Vic Kreshke's role this year?
Not a
OKC
two-way.
Blue?
They've already filled up the two-way spots.
Yeah, not a two-way.
So I think the most likely scenario is they cut loose either Gabriel Deck or Charlie Brown Jr., and Kreshke takes that roster spot.
Yeah.
And maybe never sees minutes. Maybe he does play a ton in the G League on assignment and but just gets the NBA contract. I think that's probably the most likely scenario.
There's something he's kind of like Josh Giddey where it's like the unknown. Like we haven't seen him play a bunch. Sam Presti trading all the way up to what was he, 32 or 34? Like he was early second round the year he got drafted.
He was maybe somewhere in the 30s because Teo was 34.
36 then?
Something like that. Maybe.
Okay. Regardless, Presti moving up that far to get a guy like Vit who is coming off an ACL injury makes me think that he has seen something or knows something that was out of left field.
Yeah. No, definitely. And so the Thunder bought out his contract overseas. Per CBA rules, when you buy out a player, you have to roster them.
Yep.
There was some confusion on and unclarity on whether you could put them on a two-way, and I think that's originally what I thought they would do. But the two-way spots are filled, so they have to roster him at this point.
Yeah.
So that means somebody's got to go.
He can still play every game with the Blue, though.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's an interesting one, though.
There's
Blue
not many
going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, and there's not as many G League two-way restrictions anymore. It used to be like that number of days.
Yes.
Right. They've really come off that. So like Aaron Wiggins could actually play up all year and
for the entire season up until
down all year. Like
playoffs with quotations, obviously. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, that G League squad. I mean,
Aaron Wiggins is
going to be playing there. Josh Hall is going to be playing there. Vic Kreshke is going to be playing there. They're going to have a squad.
Hopefully we'll have maybe two of us now that I'm here in OKC covering some games.
There you go.
Some Blue games. So the Wash asks us if Giddey doesn't get back soon. Although I'm probably going to amend this question. I think it's pretty safe to say that Giddey's ankle sprain was pretty minor overall, even if it would have kept him out the entire summer league season. He obviously, knock on wood, pending another injury, would or will be available come training camp and then preseason into the regular season. But his question is, who would you take between Teo or Ty? And I think what he or she is getting at is, in a nutshell, you're trying to develop players. So we're assuming Giddey's playing, right? Would you rather develop, or would you rather, or would you prefer maybe Teo minutes over Ty minutes, or Ty minutes over Teo minutes? That one's kind of tough. I mean, there's a lot of things I like about Ty.
I'm going Ty I think he's got a higher ceiling.
Literally love Ty Jerome.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I just like that kid.
I'm gonna go Teo.
Justin, you're the tiebreaker, buddy.
Yeah, come on, Teo as well.
Do you want to go boring and
I
conservative?
love that Jacob just assumed I was going Teo.
Or do you want to go like super saucy, pulling up from 30 feet?
This is like when I had to tie break between my kids for dinner tonight between Freebirds and Wendy's.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It was,
Did you go Wendy's? Is that why you mentioned a Frosty earlier?
No, that is
that's
probably
the
why I
point.
mentioned a Frosty earlier. We did go to Freebirds because kids eat
Yes.
free on Sundays and daddy's cheap.
Hell yeah.
Are
Are
That's
you the kind of
incredible.
dad that like makes your kids take free stuff every time free stuff is available?
Yeah, that's the best part of being a parent.
I remember I was with my dad one time somewhere as a kid. He was like, "Hey, go up to that stand and get that thing." I forget what it was, and I was like,
I don't want it.
"Why? It's free." I was like,
That's right.
"But I don't want it, Dad." But it's free, so go get it.
That's right.
Justin's such a dad, man.
Duh.
Such a dad.
I love it.
What was the question? No,
Ty versus Teo, developmental minutes. Which one would you prefer? And you're the tiebreaker. Me and Nick are Teo, Team Teo. Jacob's always been Ty Jerome. And look, Nick and I both like Ty as well, but just end this question.
F it, tie.
Yes.
Why
I'll
not?
try it again. And then just a follow up from the wash. He was surprised that Ty didn't take part of the summer league. Were you? And we don't have to spend a lot of time on this one specifically, but were you guys surprised about that, or were you not surprised? What do you think?
No, I didn't think. I wasn't expecting him to play summer league ball.
Yeah, I was more surprised by Poku than I was Ty.
We got a chance to throw out an all-white 5-man lineup this year, guys. I'm just not
Yeah.
realizing this.
Okay.
Ty, Giddy, Poku, Muscala. Who would be the fifth? Who's the fifth white guy on the team?
Vit.
I guess you could throw out Vit.
Vit. What are we?
Uh,
Ship this
Mavs?
team to Utah, man,
Or Dallas?
or Dallas.
Let's see. We do have a lot. I'm trying to like scroll through comments.
Give us a couple more, Taylor. Couple more than we'll get out of here.
Boy,
Here's
is
one
Kyle still played? Is Kyle still paid by the Thunder?
Yes, I think
Kyle
so.
Singler.
Next.
Yep. Next.
Probably still driving.
Oh,
that
somebody at the
2004
watch
Ford
mentioned
Fusion,
we were
too.
talking about SGA. Thunder Twitter is all aboard the timeline nickname. The watch would like the timeline nickname to stick here at the uncontested. What do you guys think about the timeline nickname while I scroll?
I'm
It
very
makes me
meh.
think
Me,
of
that's-
our buddies at the Phoenix Suns
Timeline
podcast.
podcast. Exactly. Right.
Hey,
right.
I pitched to you guys in our group DM, and I don't know if you guys thought I was joking, but I want Justin to make the shirts. Shea Gilgeous Alexander, Destiny Child crossover. Shay my name.
Say my name.
Print them.
Oh, print the money. I love it. I love it.
Here's a recent question in the chat from Christian Lure. Who's everyone's favorite non-Thunder player?
Ooh, this is tough.
Nick, who
easy.
you got?
That's easy. I support the Hawks out east, and Cam Reddish has been my guy since they entered the league.
That's a very like
Interesting.
underrated, like
That's a fun one.
not typical one. I like that.
Yeah.
Taylor, who's your guy?
Ooh, I'm torn here. The first two that come to mind, like I'm not a Celtics guy by any mean, but I always have loved Tatum and Brown. But I've loved watching Tatum ever since he was a rookie. And the other guy that comes to mind, just because I'm forever a Russell Westbrook fan and always will be, John Morant. I've heard it both ways. I'm always rooting for him. Moron. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah,
No, I'm joking. That's not
Morant. Yeah, Moron without the T. I love Jaw a lot too.
Taylor pronouncing names, man.
It's the best.
Match made in heaven. Justin, who you got?
The wash in the chat throwing out Russ. I think a handful of former Thunder guys.
Oh
That's
yeah,
not
that's a
cheating.
given.
That's
That
cheating.
one's a
That's
given.
cheating.
Yeah.
You know, Trey Young and Blake Griffin, because of my Sooners fandom, those guys are always fun to watch. But like as far as like no connection to at all, but just a guy that I like is Jimmy Butler. I really like
Oh,
his
okay.
his attitude. Like he's a dog. I'm also like a big coffee nerd, so I'm all about Big Fish coffee. Like sign me up for all of it.
You calling him a dog reminds me of PJ Tucker at the Milwaukee Bucks parade. You guys see that video?
I don't
This
think
team's
I
got
did.
dogs.
Dogs.
They got dogs.
We some-
We're all dogs. It's incredible. I'll go. Jaylen Brown has always been my dude. I love Jaylen Brown.
I do too.
And
yeah.
then kind of just random along the lines of Nick, random under the radar guy I was super high on in the draft. And since he's doing well, I feel like it justifies my opinions in life. Tyrus Halliburton. I love Hallie. Such
That's
a
a
good
good one.
player. He's got a lot of shade.
You
in
were
him.
always high on him in our little
Yep.
pre-draft stuff.
That's a good one.
He's got a lot of Shea in him, I think. Even went the same range as Shea in the draft. I think Shea was 11 and Hallie was 12. Is that right? They were
Sounds right.
both 12. I don't know. Something
Sounds
like
right. Yeah.
that. All right. Is that all for the chat?
I think so, unless you guys want to go down a rabbit hole of what poker stealing is, and there's more.
You ever heard of
but-
this guy named God?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
that's right.
Wrap it up.
Hey, thank you guys so much for checking out the Uncontested podcast. We really appreciate you. If you joined us live tonight on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, here on the chat all night, hey, we appreciate you. We always love seeing the interactions as we go through the episode. If you're listening to the podcast version, hey, shout out to you. Thanks for downloading our show. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts at. Go drop a 5-star rating. Write us a little note. Tell us you love us. That'd mean a lot. We will be back with you again Monday, tomorrow, as we do a live Green Room Hangout. So make sure you download the Green Room app. And then Wednesday night, we will do a Green Room podcast live from the Green Room app as well. Then Friday, you guessed it, another Green Room Hangout before we go live again on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Next Sunday at 9 p.m., we're going to start digging in a little more to what teams did in the offseason, what we liked, what we didn't like, as we start to prepare. Because, gentlemen, we are about a month and a half away from training camp.
I love it.
Preseason games.
Love it.
Less than 2 months away from the start of the NBA season. It'll be here before we know it. You guys have a great start to your week. Enjoy your Monday. Stay out of trouble. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And we will chat with you soon. Until then, and as always, thunder up.